This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's Jacob's Rider Fight Week, but also the return of the bull. Johnny Fisher. All right, mate, how are you?
Good, thanks, KUGAN. How are you? Good?
All good, all good. We're just having a little chat about chariots in Romford. So, yeah.
Unbelievable fish and chips in there. Not just fish and chips. You can get steak, you can get lobster, you can get grilled fish, anything you want. I had them there the other day, honey glazed king prawns. Better than most Chinese's, if I'm being honest. So delicious.
Absolutely.
What did you have?
I had the sea bass. I had to think about what I had because everyone was having a little mix and match.
Stuff on the menu as well, isn't there? And what I like about it is sometimes stuff won't be on the menu because they said, "Oh, we ain't got it fresh." So you know everything you're getting in there is going to be fresh from Billingsgate, so it's perfect.
Tasted a bit of the lobster there and all. That was worth waiting for and all.
Exactly. The lobster's beautiful. You can't go wrong with that. But you live in a high life, don't you, having your lobster, don't you?
Not really, no. Not really, no. Just like I said, there was like a lot going on, so we all had a bit of whatever, you know.
Mix and match it all up.
There we go. Yes, obviously you've sold a ridiculous amount of tickets for this, but this is you now, and I think people kind of know that the support is there for you at the moment. You've got to play your part, but you can't really dismiss a fan base like you've got.
No, it's unbelievable. I'm very humbled and privileged to have that support. I could have easily done 3,000 tickets for this one, easily. It's my dad, when we first got the tickets, we thought we were getting 1,500. They sold out within a day and a half. And then we're sending people to StubHub to get them through there because we didn't have any left. And we got another 500, 600 tickets. And my dad's coming back now to get some more. So I could have easily done 3,000. We've done about 2,200, 2,300. So it's good to have that support. As you said, I've got to now do my job and win on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to talk to you about obviously kind of the role your dad plays kind of career-wise because we kind of see him. I mean, he did his first personal appearance up in Oxford. We saw that and all the people kind of gathering around him, and I'm sure he's kind of probably finding it a little bit weird, but kind of taking it in at the same time.
He said it was surreal. He turned up to this nightclub in Oxford, and he's like, it's a lot of young lads, like 20-year-old boys, like and young girls as well. Like they seem to love him. I don't know. Like, he's relatable. I think eating his Chinese on a Saturday night. Everyone does that. Most people do that up and down the country, and they love him for some reason. But he's in Bristol next week. He's got another one, and he's got another one in Cardiff, and another one in Nottingham. And the man said if they go well, he'll take him on a nationwide tour. And they're going well so far. So this could be the start of a new beginning for Big John.
Well, I do none of this. This is great stuff. We'll have to turn up to a few of them.
It's like life on the road. That's what I keep calling him. He sent me a video of him in his hotel room, and he's turning into a bit of a David Brent. So he's got to keep his head. He's got to keep his feet on the ground.
Well, we know obviously he's like quite active on social media now, and he kind of gives us updates regarding your tickets and what he's been doing, etc. But I suppose it's good to have someone kind of doing that. I know everyone's kind of got someone who does that, but to have your dad kind of doing all that with money, etc., tickets, so...
And it wasn't ever planned like that. We just, like, I think when the O2 one who said, "Oh, who's going to do the tickets then?" I can't do the tickets. He said, "Oh, I'll do the tickets." Like, and he's just built it from that. And I think because it's happened naturally and he's sort of found his role in it, it's working really well. And we want to keep it as much as we can in terms of doing it from hand and keeping that personal side of it because it is a big thing. Big John's his own entity now. He's got his own support base. He's got his own fan base. So people love buying tickets off Big John as well. The fact that they're talking to him and giving him a bosh and stuff like that. So they love it.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about Saturday. Alexander Palace boxing returns to Matchroom there for the first time in quite some years. What can people expect from you? What kind of test is this going to be for you on Saturday night?
I think this is going to be a tough test. I think this guy, he obviously beat Torero on points. He's been a distance with Oscar Rivas, and he's the current Spanish heavyweight champion. Tall, rangy, could frustrate me a little bit or try to frustrate me. So the challenge for me is to be educated, pressure him in an educated way, and I'll get the job done. But I can't get frustrated with myself, and I've got to box to my ability, and I know I've got the ability. And if I box well, the knockout will come. But by no means am I overlooking this opponent. I know I've sold all these tickets, I've done all this work building it up, but I've now got to do a job, and that job's on Saturday night, and it's to give a good, impressive account of myself.
Is that how you feel in some of your previous performances, that you've frustrated yourself?
I don't feel like I frustrated myself in any of my previous performances. The only one maybe was Phil Williams, what I took on a few days' notice. I didn't box as well as I wanted to, but in some ways I learned a lot from that one, because the next fight was a little bit more relaxed against Danny Whitaker, and then the last fight I started nice and relaxed, and I built into it into the second round. So if I do get a bit frustrated, in the long run, it's probably going to benefit me if I get 4, 5, 6 rounds in. If it goes to points and I box well, that's no problem either. But we want to get the knockout, and if I box well and I box the way I know I can, I'll get that knockout. And it's all part of that learning process. We say it so many times, but I'm 5 fights in, and this is the 5th one, and I've just got to keep rolling with the punches and go with it.
Well, when you have conversations with Eddie Hearn, who's obviously put a lot of confidence in you from the start as well, when you have conversations, I mean, how quickly does, or not quickly, does he want to kind of progress you? Because it's quite difficult at this stage, I suppose, fights kind of 5 to 10 to actually match you properly. Not just you, but just any kind of upcoming heavyweights, that kind of period of getting those first 5 out of the way, and then that little middle bit between then and double figures could be quite hard to match.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. You don't want to just fight people who are going to roll over and you're going to knock over, because you're not going to learn anything from that. So I think taking sensible little baby steps up is the right way to go. But as you said, it's quite hard to find the middle ground between them guys where you're going to knock over and them guys who are proper serious contenders, or people that are going to give you a bit of trouble. So that's the challenge, and who's better to deal with that than Matchroom? They're the kings of matchmaking, they're the kings of promoting. So I'm in good hands with Eddie Hearn, and I know he's behind me, and I can see when I talk to him, he's genuinely excited, and why wouldn't he be? We've got a great support base, and it's going to be an exciting journey.
Is it extra pressure, added pressure for you, that the tickets aside, but obviously, we kind of heard your story from when you turned professional, and like you said, you've got a load of people coming this week, and I'm not saying they don't know who you're fighting, but I don't think they really care who you're fighting.
They don't care. 80% of them, like a lot of my mates from university are coming. These people that are coming are not avid boxing fans, a lot of them. They're people that have not really known. I've sort of brought these people that are coming to support me, people who wouldn't normally necessarily watch boxing, but they're there for the atmosphere of it because they know me. And there's not any pressure on me, I don't think, because I've always said from the beginning, I'm in a very lucky position. I'm not an amateur champion, I've not gone to the Olympics, and wherever I end up, I end up. And at the minute, it's going very well. I've had 4 fights and 4 knockouts, so there's no pressure. I'm not meant to be this far in anyway, so I might as well just keep going and see where I can end up.
We know you're not one to kind of never overlook the task in hand, and your task is getting a job done on Saturday. But is there a fight out there that kind of you look at this stage of your career and think to yourself, that's a fight where I can kind of make a statement to then move on to kind of the next level of my progression?
You're right, I would never overlook what I've got to do, because if I don't perform on Saturday night, then there's nothing to overlook anyway. It brings me down a peg. There's not fights really that I know we've got a lot of great heavyweights coming up. We've got great names like David Adelaide, Fabio Wardley, Tommy Welch, boys that are coming up and got their own career. My managerial stablemate, Solomon Dakers, who's making good names for himself. And all these fights down the line, 2, 3, 3 years, something like that, they're all going to happen eventually if we get to that level. But for me, I've just got to focus on the here and now. And I know that's not the answer you want. You want me to go and call someone out, but I'm here in the here and now, and I've got to fight Gabriel Nguema, and it's going to be a tough test. Christopher Lovejoy is someone who always keeps piping up. That could be a nice fight if we go to America or Mexico or something like that. But at the minute, I'm a baby. I am an actual baby in this sport. I'm 22 years old. All these other guys are at least 3, 4 years older than me. So I haven't got no rush to do anything. I've just got to keep developing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, John, I wasn't specifically asking you to call anyone out. That'll come in a couple of fights, don't worry about that. But no, we obviously, in Manchester, after the Chisora and Parker fight, you was having a little bit of a chat, but like a respectful chat with Adam Babich. And I just wondered, is there, you mentioned kind of you've been linked with a fight with Chris Lovejoy, but I just wondered if there's there will come a point where one of these fighters that we're talking about, or you've mentioned, that kind of fight will happen for you, but that's not now. That's probably maybe 2 or 3 fights.
Yeah, that's not yet. That's not yet anyway. But you talk about Adam Babich. I see Adam Babich as a friend, if I'm being honest. And the same with Fabio Wardley. I spar Fabio all the time for this fight. I sparred him at least 5 or 6 times. Adam Babich has been on a journey with me at fight camp, at the last fight on the 30th of October. So these guys, it's hard to get up for a fight like that or think about that, because I don't think of them as enemies. I see them as friends, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and they'll probably say the same thing to you. But this is sport and this is business, and we're all on our own journeys, and when it makes sense, with whoever it is, we've all got to go get down and do it. But for now, I've got to pass the test on Saturday night, and that's the only thing that matters.
And then,
diplomatic answer.
yes, but all your answers are kind of diplomatic. You're good, mate. All your answers that you've ever given me since I've started interviewing you have been diplomatic, but they're kind of to the point as well. So.
Yeah, they're to the point, and I'll always be honest with you, and I think that's the best policy in boxing, because when you're not honest and you get in that ring and you don't perform how you want to, it all comes to crashing down anyway. So you might as well be honest with where you are, because there's no hiding when you get in the ring. And as you said about my support base and my fan base, I don't really think 80%, 90% of my supporters really care who I turn up and fight. I could have 10 fights fighting people like Matt Gordon, no disrespect to Matt Gordon, but I could fight people at the level of Matt Gordon for 10 fights, and no one would really be bothered. But that's not how I want to develop. I want to develop, and I want to go as far as I can. So I need to take little steps up, like this guy is on Saturday.
I mean, I don't understand always the rush again for. It's fan pressure sometimes as well. Like they obviously after your initial 2 or 3 fights, it's like right, it's got to be stepped up. Yeah. But sometimes it is just about kind of having the right fights at the right time and building your career so you can learn at the same time.
But that's what I often look back and think about fighters back in the 80s, 70s and 80s. They'd fight in the shadows for a good portion of their career, for like the first to get to 15-0, 20-0. Even people like Mike Tyson, when he first started coming through for his first 10 fights, not many people would have known of him, and then he steps up and fights the world title fight against Trevor Berbick, and then people start talking about him. With now the age of social media and the pressure, as you said, of the fans and how everything's been sped up. And that's one thing we can't get caught up with in the world of boxing, because once we start speeding up the development of fighters, that's when they crash and burn. So you've got to have that 10, 15 fights where you're developing. I think someone who's done that very well and is on the pinnacle of doing great things now is Conor Ben, because he's had the perfect diet and he's had to pass them tests. There's still been tough tests, and he's in a great position now, and hopefully I can be built in a similar way that he's been built.
Yeah, you make a good point about Conor Ben there, because, and I said this to Conor Ben, the fact that you're kind of fighting who you're fighting at the moment, but people literally are calling for like the top names, and he's like on the way to becoming one of them, but they're calling the elite for him to fight. So, no.
He's only, how old is he, 24, 25 himself?
There's a compliment in what people are saying, if Conor can take it that way.
If you listen to outside voices and people that, the people that blow down your ear hole, then you're not doing what's best for you. And that's one thing you've got to be. This is your boxing career. We're the people who get in the ring and we put our health and our safety on the line. We've got to make decisions with the people we trust, our families, our teams, our managers, and go with what we want. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. And people will watch either way, because people like Conor Ben, they're very exciting to watch.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, Jacob's Rider, Felix Cash on the bill yourself. I mean, yeah, it's a stacked card at Alexander Palace, live on the Zone. Probably won't get a ticket now because your fans are taking them all. Why do I get the impression that I think your fans are going to give Hearn a bit of stick on Saturday? I've just got that in my head, that if they see him walking past, they're going to, in a nice way, obviously. Yeah.
It's like banter. There's a bit of banter for Eddie Hearn, the old Brentwood boy. They're going to give it to him a little bit, but I think he expects it a little bit. But he knows deep down they all like him, and it's a bit of friendly banter. So I hope Eddie Hearn can take it, and he don't do what he done on the Joshua fight when he wanted to go for that geezer. But in our sense, it's all friendly banter. We all love him.
He's like the pantomime villain.
Yeah, he is. But then if they all went and had a Chinese with him, they'd all be his best pal, wouldn't they? That's the thing. So you've got to take the rough with the smooth, Eddie. Absolutely.
Well, Johnny Fisher, thank you very much for talking to Eiffel TV. You've got the public workout later on. And, roll on Saturday night.
Roll on Saturday night. Let's get the job done. Bosh.